Good Monday morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get airborne. Happy Veterans Day to my fellow veterans out there. We got Kid, we got Ponch, we got Sledge, we got Arrow, and we have a ton of veterans here at Top Gun Options. So obviously, thank you for your service on this probably the best Veterans Day of my existence, man. It it uh, it was a lot, obviously. Um, you know, they got their pound of flesh. A lot of times it sucked, a lot of loss, but obviously I do it all over again. And I owe you all an apology, man. I've been pretty, for the last 4 years getting the foundation up and running. There's Shrek and I, when we went through Top Gun together. He went through the Smart Guy course. I went through the Adversary course. There's Spice, one of my really good friends, Stork. Stork and I were in the same squadron together, the Hunters. We had a good time at Top Gun. There's one of my last cross countries before I got out. I took a jet up to Naperville, and Susie and my boys were out there. Where's that picture? This is a really good picture. There's Matthew and Jack up at the fence there. That's up at Top Gun. Good stuff. Good time. Nice little low transition out of Fort Worth. Back of the ship when I was with the Snakes, a Marine squadron. This guy ended up being a Blue Angel, Hunter Hobson. But I owe you guys an apology, man. From 2016 to 2020, out doing keynotes, talking to people, I knew Donald Trump was going to win, and we had a great 2016 to 2020. Now the COVID, if you were here, you made potentially a shitload of money. I made $2.5 million worth of trades in 2.5 weeks. It was obscene. Now, obviously that happened at the end of his presidency and absolute shit show. But man, before that, rip your face off rallies, man, cutting regulation, getting Supreme Court justices approved, peace in the world. It was just incredible. And then 2020 obviously happened, and took that money, started the foundation, and really focused on doing that. So I stopped speaking, and I think I lost touch. I really lost touch with the average American person, and I fell victim, I will admit, to the liberal media. I obviously have to look at as much as I can to create a good strategic mindset. And I got suckered, man. You guys heard me. Pretty dour, pretty, if you're losing a guy like me who served his country and just, it wasn't without reason. The DEI in the United States military, the last place in this country that should be putting up with any sort of bullshit like that. So obviously I got pretty bearish on America and Americans, and I failed. So I owe you an apology. I owe kind of my fellow Americans an apology, man. Last week was a restored faith in this country. I would not be talking like this today if it was President-elect Harris, but exactly, John. I love being wrong and it being good. So this is a good thing. Now, obviously, if you thought the country was on a great track for the past 4 years and Trump's Hitler and Nazis and all sorts of shit, you're not having a good week and you're not going to have a good time. But he's clearly not any of those things. Where'd all the hate and vitriol go? Where's Hillary? Where's Barack? Where's the Nazis? And what rights, are the women wearing their white hats and their cloaks today? It's just the hate and the vitriol was disgusting. And it's funny seeing the Democrats starting to AOC and those freak shows are already saying we lost because we weren't liberal enough. Okay. I'm not in the business of giving Democrats advice on how to, first of all, they need to knock out a debrief and hash out what worked, what didn't, and improve their future execution. I personally pray that they keep doing what they're doing. Keep the Nazi shit up. Let's do another Russia collusion. Let's do everything you've been doing, Democrats. Don't change anything. Please don't change anything. I'm begging you. Please keep pounding trans surgery and for minors and in ladies' locker rooms and all your bullshit. Please keep doing it. Clearly, it was It was a fluke. Last week was a fluke. Everything you believe in is great. Don't change. So, yeah, exactly, Robin. And yeah, Bruce, she had $1 billion and now she's $20 million in debt. That's a Democrat-run campaign. You start with $1 billion, you end 20 million in debt. And now it's coming out that what was she doing? They paid Oprah $1 million for her endorsement and to interview her. I wonder how much they paid Beyonce. Once we start digging in all their shit, they spent, you ready for this? Out of the $1 billion, they spent $500 million on staff and salaries. Did you see Donald Trump's? He had like 350 million. He spent like what small amount on. It was run like a business. They ran it like they ran the country. Now they're $20 million in debt. It's comical. Lots of pockets got filled. That's exactly right, Rick. Where's Beyonce? I want to know how much every one of these stars got paid. That's exactly what I want to know. Oprah and all these people, because they're frauds. If you have to pay somebody for an endorsement, it's not an endorsement. But anyway, we need to get airborne. But folks, I'm sorry. I am now bullish because I was convinced, man. Even Elon Musk sounded like me. He's like, they're flying all these illegal immigrants in. It's going to change all these red states to blue. You'll never. This is our last election. I said the same thing. Elon Musk said it way after I did. But now there's hope. Donald Trump appointed Tom Homan, like the ice guy or the border czar. This guy is fantastic. He's like, they're gone. And isn't it funny that the spend like a drunken sailor Democrats are now wanking about the cost? Well, it might cost $1 billion to deport these people. Oh, now you give a fuck about money? You didn't give a fuck about money when you're putting them up in hotels in New York City, giving them $1,500 a month, sending them to college for free. So you didn't care about any of the billions and billions of dollars currently being spent, but you have a little problem with them leaving. They're disgusting people, and I can't stand them. I'm sorry. They're humans and they have beautiful souls, but I can't stand when people do this type of shit, the hypocrisy. Like, oh, it's going to cost a lot of money. Okay, you're a fucking budget hawk now. Anyway, where's Chuck Schumer? I'm ready. I'm here for it. I want to pack the Supreme Court, and I want to eliminate the filibuster rule. Right? That's where we were a week ago. So let's do it. In the spirit of bipartisanship, let's eliminate the filibuster and pack the Supreme Court. Oh, you don't want to do that? Yeah, exactly, Obi. Anyway, my apologies. I'm feeling better. And you guys know that I believe there's no such thing as coincidences. Booked my first keynote last week. I'm back, baby. I was up in Palm Beach. I met the potential Secretary of Defense. He was up there staying at the hotel where they were doing the thing, and which was a God moment. I gave him my card, briefed him on the psychedelics. He's like, oh yeah, let's try. I supported all that stuff, man. He's being floated as potential Secretary of Defense. Gave him my business card last week. Anyway, so I'm back. I want to get out on the speaking circuit. You guys know when I talk to these companies, it gives me great intel as to what's going on in the economy. So here we go. Let's go ahead and buckle up, Buttercup. Real quick, this clip, did you guys see this clip on Rogan? This clip is, let me just give you a link to it, but it's 45 seconds, man. Joe Rogan, psychedelic assisted therapy for veterans. RFK is going to do it. It's a 40-second clip of him just saying the real pathway to healing for many of these veterans is psychedelics, and Robert F. Kennedy is going to do it. We are getting on this Veterans Day. He shared it last night. I'm going to say it was Veterans Day. This brought tears to my eyes, man. This is my mission objective. I failed in this too, folks. I did know how much the Democrats are swamp creatures, but I thought they were hippies and drug rugs and mala beads. And yeah, man, psychedelics will legalize them. Kind of like their bullshit pandering for weed. Oh, we'll make weed legal now. Why didn't you do it in the past? For your Democrats? Let's go. And then, of course, they've never done it. because they are the ones in bed with big pharma, alcohol, and tobacco. It ain't the Republicans, man. The parties, I've never thought this would happen in my lifetime, has switched. Republicans are for the little guy and anti-war and pro-free speech and anti-government. The Democrats, who used to be all of things, are the exact opposite. We want to censor you. We're pro-government. We're pro-war. What the hell's going on? So, and I got that wrong. I'm like, well, Democrats, let's go. Yay, Joe Biden, President Harris, psychedelics, not a word. JD Vance, RFK, pro psychedelics for veterans. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm going to be furious. And you know me, I'm calling them out. I'm still trying to get to DeSantis. We were supposed to meet with the chief of staff, hurricanes and shit like that. Canceled all our stuff, but Daniel and I are going to reattack and get to DeSantis, man, at least on a state level. Trump to renew maximum pressure campaign against Iran. This is awesome. Turns out last week they indicted a bunch of Iranians for trying to kill Trump. Shocker. So this is fantastic. Instead of giving billions and billions, how about instead of giving billions to Iran, you give billions to the No Fallen Heroes Foundation so we can heal veterans? People, I can't even, it makes me furious we did half this shit. Trump's win means it isn't Iran's Middle East anymore. Shockwaves throughout the region. Isn't that funny? Like these people in a night, the world literally shifted, right? Iran's like, holy shit. That guy killed General Soleimani with a Ginsu drone. Wasn't even an explosive. It just turned him into hair, teeth, and eyeballs. It sliced his ass up. Holy crap. Iran's in trouble. Netanyahu has got to be thrilled. Did you see what Qatar did? Qatar, the country a couple days ago said, Hamas, get out, or Hezbollah, whichever one all the rich Hamas dudes that have stolen all the money from their people and live in these incredible palatial places in Qatar, gone. That country said, you leave. You turn down the last peace deal, get out. We're not your Switzerland anymore. The dude isn't even in office yet, and things are turning around. Europe urges Trump to support Ukraine, but braces for possible cut in U.S. aid. Did you see what happened? Was it yesterday or over the weekend? Massive drone attacks by Ukraine on Moscow, on the capital. Good on Ukraine. It hit them, man. You're in war, hit the capital. But Moscow, of course, hit back. And now 50,000 soldiers, including 10,000 North Korean soldiers who are hooked on porn now because they got access to the internet, getting ready to take back Kursk. So what you're seeing right now is both sides trying to get as much as they can before Trump's peace deal is kind of a freeze. Let's just stop. Everybody stop. And then let's have a NATO or whatever, UN, put all the blue helmets in. Let's just have a North Korea, South Korea, a peace zone or something like that. And then maybe, I don't know, 20, 25 years from now, talk about Ukraine and NATO or something like that. So this is good news too. If you like peace, if you're in Ukraine, this isn't good news. I get it, man. I super don't have a dog in this hunt. I just hate people killing each other. So we're not without, Joe Biden, 2021. Well, if Putin does invade, it'll be a minor incursion, so I won't be too freaked out about it. You just invited the dude in, man. Anyway, so we got some dirt on our hands. Boris and Biden got to Zelensky early and said, don't do it. Just you can fight him. You don't need to do anything like this. So anyway, we talked about this last week. We'll talk about this more in primary. If you're just in solo, you're not going to hear this, but fade the defense stocks. I am bearish now. This is one of those random times where in the blink of an eye, I went from being bullish on something, and not the blink of an eye, in the blink of a night, to bearish and we'll talk about this stuff tomorrow. But keep an eye on the defense contractors. We're still, I'm longer term bearish on the defense contractors, still short term neutral, because we looked at the headline 2 weeks ago that said Pentagon out of missiles. That's bullish for Raytheon. Raytheon's making money. Peace isn't breaking out immediately, so I'm not, I should say in the blink of an eye, I got bearish. In the blink of an eye, it changed my strategic mindset. And how many times have I briefed you with our trade plan? Step 3 is commit criteria. Anytime one of those sentences changes in your commit criteria, eject or make a decision like, man, my commit criteria changed. What am I doing? We'll talk about it tomorrow, but not super long-term bullish on the defense contractors. Speaking of defense contractors and the swamp and scumbags, they're already planning. Folks, this is an actual insurrection, right? Like when that fat lieutenant colonel that got elected to Congress, I can't stand DC. I can't stand Northeastern Virginia. They float them in California and the left goes into the ocean. They elected that Vindeman dude. Guy committed treason. Listened to a call, ratted it out. This, that. It's what are you doing? So now it's leaking that they're military leaders who are trying to figure out how to respond to his orders. Step 1, listen to them. You jackass. If they're blatantly illegal, you don't have to follow them, or you resign, or you go to jail. You guys, I shared, I think it was a year ago when she did this. I dated, her name's Dee Burt. She's a 3-star general. I think she's in the Space Force now. I dated her at Embry-Riddle. Apparently it went downhill after we broke up. She was the one with the transgenders, and I'm not sending them red states like Florida because of, they're anti. I'm like, whoa, you're fired, General. I hope Trump walks in and she's the first general that's fired. Clean the Pentagon, Mr. President. Pull people like me out. I'll do it for free. Field promotion to Admiral, man, and I will gut that place. I ain't going to work for Raytheon. So this is going to be interesting. I got a buddy of mine, Raisin Kane. He's a 3-star general. He's over at the CIA. I hope Trump taps him. Remember that? I showed you years ago when Trump was in Afghanistan. He's like, so I'm talking to this general, Raisin Kane. He looks like he's out of Central Casting. Raisin Kane. I said, where's all the bad guys? And he said, right on that hill, Mr. President. And I said, why aren't you blowing them up, Raisin? He said, well, I want this bomb, but those people over there won't let me. And he looked at all the other higher ranking folks. And I said, Raisin, you got your bomb. And then he blew up the hill and he killed all these terrorists. I love Raisin. If he picks Raisin, Raisin's flying under the radar. He has to be political at least, or hide your politics. So Raisin would be awesome. But there's another reason, get bearish on the defense stocks, especially because no sound. Can you guys hear me? Everybody got me? Bueller, give me a Y. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Trump outlined plans to decimate the deep state. It is, it's good. He's just, unlike last time, he knows where bodies are buried. Christopher Wray is resigning before Trump gets in so he can be a private citizen. So if they go after him, he can take the 5th. But Christopher Wray's a swamp creature. That guy needs to go at FBI. I would shit can just about all the leadership at the FBI. CIA, gut it all. And hopefully if he does all of this stuff and things go good for the next 4 years, you got JD Vance, VP. Maybe we have 12 years of this as I become a little bit more senior in this country. Things are good. And if they do deport, did you know there's 1.3 million illegal immigrants in this country that are criminals that have active leave? You have to leave by a year ago and they're still running around. So Democrats are all wanking about the cost. It's like those 1.3 million of them are the immediate people we're getting rid of. And then all the rest as we go. I'm rambling about this because it's so funny to see Democrats for their true color. Well, who's going to clean our hotel rooms and mow our lawns? Is that what you think of these people? They're not doctors or surgeons like Elon Musk and Trump. They're like, we're pro-immigration, but send us your best. We ain't getting their best. So it's typical Democrats looking down there. Well, who's going to be my nanny? All the limousine liberals who have problems with this shit, right? It's disgusting. Okay. The Fed, Jerome Powell yesterday, man, there is what's really funny about Jerome Powell and his independence? Well, if Trump tries to fire me, First of all, he had at his press conference last week one answer: no. Do you think that if Trump asks you to resign, will you? No. 10 minutes later, well, if Trump tries to fire you, Kenny, it's against the law. Wow. So tugging on Trump's cape isn't smart. So he unintentionally highlighted that the Fed is this ex-government agency that reports to no one. Wrong. It absolutely says the president can remove the Federal Reserve chief for cause. Don't give me any of this. I'm a government agency, but I'm not. And I also don't report to anybody. Federal Reserve Act was one of the worst mistakes this country's ever made. Get rid of the Fed, in my opinion. Sound like Rand Paul or his dad. So anyway, Jerome Powell was prepared to go to court when the president wanted to fire him 6 years ago. If it happens, the Fed chair might have to pay the legal tab himself. Wouldn't that be funny? Oh, so you're not a government agency. You're just some dude who does massive, who impacts the market and everything that goes on in this country, and you just don't report to anybody. I'll see you in court. Well, the government ain't paying for that. Jerome Powell, apparently you're some sort of private citizen. So this is starting to. This is a really good article. If you want a cup of coffee, this is one to read, because they're like we really try and fly under the radar and exactly audit the Fed. That would be fantastic. So this is interesting. Anyway, the Fed thinks inflation is vanquished, right? Jerome Powell gambles he won't have to raise rates in Trump's term. Inflation's vanquished. One of the reasons Trump won is because Democrats ignored inflation. Or if they said something about it, they said, you should be happy we brought it down from 9.1. What? So the arsonist is taking credit for being the firefighter. Fucking wrong, man. So, and Joe Biden, in one of his lucid moments, actually admitted that the Inflation Reduction Act caused inflation. So inflation is stuck. Once things move up, they stay, folks. We're screwed. But Jerome, I think I don't think since Trump's elected he's going to stop cutting rates. But I don't think inflation is vanquished, folks. We might get into that ugly stagflation scenario, which would not be good for the president. So we got 25 last week. I was wrong. I flipped language last week or the week before. I'm like 50 is already baked in. It was 25 that was baked in. I was wrong. I had 50 on the brain, meaning if they did 50, the market might even freak the hell out. Like, what are you not telling us? But more importantly, kind of pulled out a little bit of the dovish language. So, which I'm fine with, man, is throttle the cuts back, man. You went 50, you went 25, or we get another 25 in a month in December. I mean, I'm here for it. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking as Whiz. I'm not talking about being your options instructor here. As the options instructor, cut, baby, cut, drill, baby, drill. Keep cutting. When interest rates are high, stocks will die. When interest rates are low, stocks will grow. It's investing 101, folks. You guys know all of this, but sometimes we have to repeat it because a lot of people are like, why is the market ripping higher on Trump? I'm like, well, first of all, interest rates are coming down. Second of all, he's a pro-business president. He's anti-massive taxes on corporations. And most importantly, he's anti-regulation, man. We talked about last week, Trump administration said if you want to write any new regulation as a federal entity, you have to get rid of 2 existing ones. Stop doing shit. Stop with your I haven't seen any language on this yet, but maybe I'll start posting about it. Day one, Mr. President, fire the 85,000 IRS agents that were hired under Democrats. Fire them. I can't believe that wasn't a campaign issue. I would have pounded the table on that. My opponent, Vice President Harris, hired 85,000 IRS agents to come after you because you're not taxed enough. That would have won the presidency there. Get rid of them. Nobody's mentioned this yet. Where are the Republicans on this? Like, fire the IRS agents, period. Hopefully that'll come up. Wall Street salivates over a new Trump boom. Boom. Big lucrative opportunities for investors and analysts. You just can't. This is fantastic. Now, got to be honest with you, man. We know there are business cycles, right? He's going to get hit with a bear market. Something's going to happen. Who knows? When I read Team myself, stagflation's an issue. Trade wars maybe with China again, but we printed money off the trade wars. So we're going to have some tariffs. We're going to have some tax cuts. But get ready. I mean, net 4 years of Trump, we went up and to the right. There was some, climbing like this, but isn't that funny? And this just goes to me reminding you during the COVID crash, I threw out 30 so investing and trading books. I kept 3 of them, I think, because it's all bullshit. It's all the Fed. But folks, under Trump, 2016 to 2020, the market did that. Under Joe Biden, the market's more or less done that, right? So as we've talked about numerous times, it's all bullshit. Jamie Dimon, the Hamptons crowd, the DC crowd, everybody needs things to go up and to the right. So they're not going to rock the boat. We should have stuff that moves up and to the right. But unlike Democrats, Republicans are a lot more pro-business, lower taxes, lower regulation. So that's even more bullish, right? So, yeah, man. What did I tell you? JG, did everybody buy MindMed last week? If you didn't, you're a fool. So my call options are printing money. We got some good Wall Street heavies coming. I would love if Bill Ackman did something. He went from on October 8th of last year, essentially Bill Ackman. October 8th last year was the official day, in my opinion, Bill Ackman became a Republican, man. After the October 7th attacks, and he saw how the world reacted, and then what happened on campuses, his alma mater at Harvard, the dude, like in the span of maybe 2 months, turned into a full-blown Elon Musk Republican. And he's a smart dude. So Mnuchin, my sister Kia was here over the weekend. I was asking her about Mnuchin. She's like, nah, he probably won't come back. He enjoys riding. He's especially riding the wave now. So he probably wouldn't go back to work for the government. But we're going to get some good pro-business folks. Jamie Dimon really stepped on himself by supporting Harris. So, okay. I hope Elon does some cost cutting. This was awesome after the Trump win. RFK Jr. says entire departments at the FDA have to go. Pro psychedelics, folks. Democrats were the swamp. 10 or 11 of the people on the FDA advisory panel that advised against MDMA all had ties to Big Pharma. That type of bullshit ain't going to fly under RFK Jr. I hope he's appointed FDA commissioner or however it works. And then finally this, folks. Did you see what they're already doing? Some idiot on CNN who was Obama's campaign manager or somebody for Obama said, Joe Biden needs to resign today and make Kamala the 47th president so we can get an African, she's not African-American, but the first African-American woman, president. He should do that for the good of us. And that's how crazy these people are. Now they're going after Sotomayor. Please resign today. Don't RBG us. She is getting an enormous amount of pressure to resign because she travels with a medic. I don't think I don't know exactly what's wrong with her. None of my business. But when this popped up over the past couple of days, Democrats quietly floating this. I'm like, I don't know if she traveled with a medic, but I don't know what her health issues are. But does she hang on? Oh, is it diabetes? God bless her, man. I hope she's okay. But if she bails out, Trump, and Thomas and Alito. Oh no, what's his name? Scalia. They could be appointing people to have a conservative Supreme Court for the next 30 years, 40 years. It's insane how good this could potentially be. Not super happy with Amy Coney Barrett sometimes and the other dude, have a beer guy. But isn't it funny, that whole thing? Kristen Ford Blasey, that lunatic lady from the left, talking about a potential high school party years ago. And then it came out like a month ago that Doug Emhoff, the second man who could have been the first man, beat the shit out of a girlfriend publicly and knocked up the nanny. Facts, and then the media ignored all that. But you go after this guy for having a beer in high school. It was gross. Anyway, so I got blown out of the Iron Condor last week, and I love it. So took a small loss on the Iron Condor on Amazon, but printed disgusting, filthy money with the synthetic stock. So I posted that in the Hunters, and I think I posted in our, if you're new to solo Amazon, folks, don't forget, you're welcome. I added a, let's go to the ready room, and let's go to Amazon trade alerts. There you go. Amazon Iron Condor update, closed my bear call spread. So, oh, good for you, Pam. I didn't. I sat there and I thought it was going to fade. Of course it's going to fade, but it's not going to fade in time for me. It's starting to fade now. That's just the story of my life. You could have rolled, trade mat, and there it goes right there. Now we're fading. I think we are going to head back to 200, I think. I said that last week, but I didn't time it good enough. Trade management with a bear call spread. You could have closed the short leg. As Amazon ripped high, like right here, I should have done a better job closing that short leg. But I'm like, it's going to fade. And it hovered. And I'm like, aha, I was right. And then the next day I got blown out. I'm like, son of a. But that's what you could have done. Remember, if you're in a bear call spread, for example, on Amazon, and it did what it did last week, the first thing you can do is close the short calls and let the long calls run. I saw people doing that, and I'm like, well done, man. I chose to sit on my hands right here thinking it was going to fade, and I was wrong. So welcome to trading, man. I ain't flawless. I got my ass handed to me on the bear call spread. You could close the short calls, let the long calls run. You could have rolled the spread up. I think I covered that on Tuesday in primary when we legged into the Iron Condor. And I said, hey, if you're a little nervous right now, we got the Fed meeting. I was convinced Harris was going to win. And, just be careful. So you could have done that, or you could have done both. You could have rolled the bear call spread up and maybe out to Friday. That would have been a nice winning too, because we're going to fade here. That's, do I go back to the hot stove with a weekly bear call spread? Yeah, I do. Because why? I don't remember last week, right? Just like golfing. I don't, shoot a snowman. I don't shoot an 8 on a hole and go to the next one. I'm like, holy crap, man, I just took an brand new hole, brand new week. Amazon's going to fade here. S&P 6,000. I want that to sink in. S&P 500 at 6,000. I want that to marinate. The S&P 500 is at 6,000. You ready for my prediction on 11/11 at 11? By the end of Donald Trump's term, the S&P 500 will be at 10,000. There you go, Mark. 10K. All right, back to Amazon. So I told you last week that short squeezes end. The S&P we're almost out of airspeed. 1, 2, getting smaller, 3, really smaller, 4, 5. I've told you that short squeezes on average last what? Say it with me. 3 to 5 days. We're in day 5. It's most likely going to fade. I'm probably going to smash. Maybe, this trend line right here is probably what we come back to. We're hovering right now at 6,000. The market likes round numbers and people are like being up here, but I think we fade and then rally. Santa Claus rally. Does everybody, I forgot this trade. I didn't get filled on it. We had a November bullish double vertical on Amazon. Somebody texted me like, dude, where was it? 700, Steve, 750% in his Amazon. I'm like, holy shit, I forgot about that. Because remember, we pulled forward Christmas. Remember, retailers, this was back in, when was this, August or September when we did this trade? I said, let's get on our Santa Claus, our Santa trade now. I forgot about that trade. I'm like, dude, I forgot about that trade. I didn't get filled on it and never reattacked. And like 750%. Wow. So let's do a weekly bear call spread. I think we are gonna fade a little bit. Quick at the money straddle, maybe $5-ish. Regular Nova expiration, maybe $5-ish. It's $5-ish. That's $10 wide. So 212 and a half, 212 and 202 and a half. The conservative bear call spread out to Friday would be the 212 and a half, 215. But I would not do that because the risk to reward is rated the at the money straddle is 1 to 0.16. No, thank you. The 210, 212 and a half, 1 to 0.34. That's a little bit more. So I'm going to do, even though I said ignore last week, I'm going to kind of do what we did last week. I'm going to sell as we fade and then maybe leg into an iron condor. Because we're due for a little bit of a break here. I can be completely wrong, folks. It can just keep ripping. But as I showed you in the S&P 500, you can see the candles getting smaller, and people are like, okay, when's the I might want to take a little bit of profit here, and then that's going to happen. So, and Amazon's starting to roll as I'm talking about it. Sell one, Nov 24, 210 call, buy the 215 and a half call, 63 cents plus or minus about 2 cents. The max I'd go is a 65. The lowest I'd go is 61 or 60. You are risking 187 to make 63. That's a high probability trade too, folks, 70%, and a good risk to reward, 1 to 0.34. Let me grab screenshots of this. I forgot to say on the screen, but since you've been here, you know what I'm about to say. Double that credit that you take in. 124. Write down on your stickies, your notepad, maybe eject. I didn't say definitely eject at 1. 11. Maybe eject at double the credit we take in. Yeah, I could. What time is it? I could maybe do that. Does anybody else need that? A new bullish double vertical on Amazon for the holidays, for Christmas. I can say that again, right? I don't have to feel bad. Darren wants one. Let me go. The short calls I would sell. I'd sell. Also, the same as the short calls on the bear call spread. Those would be the short calls I would do against my synthetic stock. Okay. Does everybody understand that? Was the 210s. I'd sell the 210 calls as well against my everybody's synthetic stock is printing money. Is everybody happy with their synthetic stock? Copy. Go over to the hunters. Yeah, man, we are printing money in our synthetic stock. I at everyone in here because even the lifetime members have access to the hunter, so they will get this alert. In our lifetime. Isn't it cool that the top of our groups now it says that there's a meeting, a trade briefing session. I love this new website, man. I love the app. Like right up here, it says Solo Amazon brief is currently live. All right, let's do that. Yeah, I'll do a. Let's pull up Amazon. if you joined Solo Amazon, when I remember after this was the last earnings, I said, sell the wife and kids, mortgage the house, put everything you possibly can in Amazon at 150, whatever it was, 152 to 212 in 3 months. It's obscene. You're welcome. All right, so a couple things. Let me draw this right here, kind of like the S&P 500. I believe this is, so there's a trend. Let me draw some lines in here, right? So we've pulled back to just slightly below the trend line. Let me do something like that too. So I think we're going to pull back to 200. Like I said, that's our most recent thing. So if you want to, again, this is a tick moment. You're the trader in command, not me. You got to make a decision. Well, Wiz, if you think it's going to fade a little bit, should I wait? It's up to you. I could be wrong. I could get filled on this bear call spread on Amazon and the Trump trade keeps going. I could be wrong. So you should put this Christmas trade on today. But I got to be honest with you folks, doing I think we'll look to like January 1st type of thing to cover the entire Christmas rally. Because let me give you the seasonality, folks. 33 years of doing this, we usually see in November, December, this hover. January is you're taking the Christmas decorations down and waiting for earnings, and then February shit show. That's exactly what I think is going to happen. Amazon usually does that. Usually does, yay, Santa Claus rally, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. We printed money. Great earnings. Fade. That happens most of the time in my experience. So if that happens, or when that happens, we'll be positive. You're not going to sit here and go and bitch and moan like, oh, I pulled back a little bit. I could have got it for $3 cheaper. You're not going to care. Do not complain about making a profit. So let's look at that. Let's go out to deselect these and there's a regular January expiration. That sucks. But the weeklies will roll out soon, but I'm not going to wait for them. At the money straddle, there is no 207 strike, so it's literally in between 5 and 10. So I don't know. Let's just use the 205s. Let's just see what the market's telling us on January expiration. $16. What'd I tell you? Okay, why'd your strikes disappear, buddy? It was 16. Now that I looked at the at the money straddle, I come back here and look at the chart. I think 200 would be the pullback level. But that's probably a little aggressive. 200, we'll go $5 wide, 195. Yeah, we could, I'd go a little lower. Let's just give ourselves some breathing room here. Yeah. So the aggressive trade would be the 200, 195. Selling the 200 put, buying the 195. That would be the aggressive bull put spread of our double vertical. The more conservative one would just be $5 cheaper. Selling the Jan 25 195 put, buying the 190. Okay, about $1. Write down your maybe eject is $2, 204 to be exact. Risking 398 to make 100. High probability 74%. Okay. Now, you could do a couple things. And remember, folks, in a bullish double vertical, the trade I'm talking about in a second, or this trade, you could do a burner trade. Why don't we, what was the all-time high? 212.5. Now I'm just spitballing. Maybe you buy a 220 call. Okay. I think that's pretty realistic. That's only $14 higher than we are right now. This is what I would call a burner trade. Why do I call it a burner trade? Let me zoom out. Because like in one of the pictures on my Veterans Day post, it's me going down the runway doing low, 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 got to the end of the fence line and went straight up. Afterburner trade. This trade profit potential is what? Unlimited to infinity and beyond, right? So you're not putting a roof on it, okay? But it's also a debit spread, right? You're coming out of pocket to do that trade, okay? Now, because some people ask, let's look at realistic contracts. That's the burner trade. I don't know. Let's do like 25. And then let's do 5. That's a lot of risk. 15, risking 8, maybe 10. So Sharon or whoever usually asks me, Pam, about if I didn't want to, my standard SOP, not risking more than 5%, $5,000-ish of my model portfolio, this would be the trade. It would be a bull put spread with 10 contracts to help fund 5 calls. This trade, you come out of pocket $1,000. But obviously your potential profit is unlimited. Don't forget the screen you're looking at me in has a little camera icon at the top. You can always take a picture of this, okay? So this would be the burner trade. You would do this trade if you just think Amazon's gonna keep ripping higher, man. Bullish on Christmas, bullish on Trump. As the transition keeps going, he's gonna appoint in Treasury secretaries and talking about pro-business this. Jeff Bezos, folks, talk about a come to Jesus, man. With the Washington Post. For the first time in our history, we're not endorsing a presidential candidate, and Jeff Bezos did it. And we're all wanking and resigning. Jeff Bezos, good, leave. The problem with this paper and media in this country is nobody trusts us. Go wank somewhere else. I was like, oh my God, Jeff Bezos, the ultimate limousine liberal, the guy who in 2015, 16, whenever at that conference said, somebody was asked, like, what about like a President Trump? He's like, President Trump, I'd put that guy on the top of one of my Blue Origins and blast him into space. Everybody laughed and clapped. A month later, he's like, congratulations, Mr. President. I hope we can work together. So if you believe that even like Jeff Bezos and pro Amazon and business stuff, you guys all have heard one of my solo Amazon briefs. I have a picture of Trump in there. Does he wake up one morning and start tweeting about Jeff Bezos, Amazon monopoly, break it up, or not? Or does Jeff, now that he's kissing the ring, we're bullish? All right, enough about that. If you want to maybe put a lid on it, maybe you buy like let's just sell. Let's add option. Let's sell. I'll go back to one contract here. We'd sell an upper strike call like this. Okay. A little bit of a debit, but with this, you put a lid on it. Your profit is capped, right? So now this tactic is called a bullish double vertical. It's just simply 2 trades on top of each other, right? The burner trade is straight up, baby. This limits your profit, okay? So this is a tick moment. This is a trader in command. Sometimes I like doing a burner trade. I think I like the burner trade better in this case, man. And if I convinced myself, I don't have to convince you. You're the tick. You signed for your portfolio. I convinced me. The next 2 months, his transition, I think we get a good Treasury Secretary. I think, Ambassador Lighthouser. I'm not going to ramble anymore. I would do a burner trade in this case. So I'm going to delete this one. this leg and just go with the burner trade. Let me grab a screenshot of this. You're welcome, Charles. I'm sorry if I don't remind people of that more. At the top of the window you're looking at me in is a little camera icon. So you don't have to wait for the trade alert or anything like that. You can grab your own screenshots as I go through stuff. Amazon, BT for burner trade, 1111. Management of a burner trade. As I'm grabbing screenshots, let's talk through it. If you get a violent move in the direction of your trade, close the calls first. Why? Because these solo calls sitting here don't like theta. If you don't like long calls sitting there getting eaten up by theta, you do the double vertical. You sell that upper strike call. You cap your profit, but you negate the theta a little bit. You keep the bull put spread on. Whiz, my burner trade, Amazon's just ripping higher. I'm going to close those calls. I made a couple 100% on my calls. Close them. Keep the bull put spread on because it loves theta. Okay, so trade management. Whiz, you're wrong. Jeff Bezos is the Antichrist. Amazon's imploding. Holy crap, what happened? Well, then you eject 7, 8, 9. I'm sorry, double the credit you take in on the bull put spread. Okay. Any questions on that? Yeah, Dennis, what would be the realistic contracts? What was it? 10, 10, 5? Yep. This is what I do, Dennis, with a $100,000 model portfolio where I'm deploying about 25 to 50 grand in cash. This would be the burner trade that I would put on. Any questions on burner trade management, either for profit or loss? Any questions on that? Let's go look at some volume and open interest out there. Wow. Remember, volumes for the day, options, open interest is actually the amount of outstanding contracts, right? So, nice. Not as much on the put side, right? A lot more on the call side. Now, we don't know if those are bought or sold or anything like that, but just anecdotally, you can look at upside Amazon calls and be like, probably some potential buyers in there, or maybe more buyers than sellers. Yeah, I like it. Again, let me remind you, as Amazon starts to roll over here, I mean, this is a monster rally. Remember what happened in earnings week? Google reported blowout like cloud stuff. We popped. Then who was it? Microsoft and who else? Somebody, they crapped the bed. And Amazon went, whoa. And then what did we do? That was pretty funny. So it was a gift down there at 184 before earnings and then bang to 212. I think Amazon is going to break out of we've had a little bit of a malaise. I mean, it's moving up and to the right. Let's go. I guess I was right. I think I'm thinking pre-20. I think I'm thinking 2022, right back here. I mean, holy crap, man, 2020. Yeah, this was trading range down here, and then we just kind of lifted, man. Thank you, Jerome Powell, for changing your mind, on interest rates. It was what, December of 2023, folks, where he said at the beginning of December 2023, he said, nah, inflation's raging. We have a lot of work to do. 2 weeks later, somebody got to him. We're going to be cutting like crazy in next year in 2024. And he didn't. The market went up on, he said he's going to cut eventually. We're always living in the future. And then he finally did 2 months ago in front of the election. So I bring that up because, man, I think Amazon's going to have an incredible 4 years under Donald Trump. God forbid he does drunk tweet, doesn't drink, but or just Trump tweets and Jeff Monopoly. But looking at, he had a nice tweet congratulating Trump on the presidency, like he did the first time. So I think what's her name? Lena Khan, all the shitbags at and it's fun. It cracks me up because I warned these people from all these limousine liberal CEOs that were bowing to the DEI mob and the woke mob. I'm like, you can't bow deep enough, man. They're still going to come after you. I laughed in the past 4 years, all these government agencies going after all these big companies that kiss their ass. I'm like, that's why you don't bow to the mob, man. You won't be subservient enough. All these companies, Google, it doesn't get any more Democrat than Google. 99.9% of their employees donated to Harris. Their founders are bomb-throwing liberals. And the DOJ, the FTC wants to break up that company. It cracked me up. So I'm rambling because I believe you're going to see a lot more ass kissing, and you're going to see a lot less FTC, DOJ, you're a monopoly, we're going to break you up type of shit. I can be wrong, but it really, really cracked me up. So, you know what, Ponch? Should exercise 120 calls. That's not a bad idea. I think I've done that like once in my career. I usually exit and take the money and run, but man, maybe, yeah. And then you get into the wheel strategy. You start selling some weekly calls against your shares. That's not a bad idea. You have synthetic stock at 120. When are you buying an L39, my brother? Let's have the No Fallen Heroes flight demonstration team. Oh, Jan 25. I mean, yeah, 80 some bucks in the money. I would absolutely strongly consider that. What are the drawbacks, man? If you got the coin, yeah, turn him into a covered call. I might just, yeah. I mean, that's a good idea. Bruce, there's no way in hell I would be the SEC chair. I want to go to the VA, man. Put me in the VA in some sort of psychedelic, or the FDA. Or no, Deputy Secretary for Naval Reserve Affairs, so I can go back to flying the Hornet in the reserves. I'd be like John Layman, Secretary of the Navy. Layman, he was an A6 BN. He took like an A6 around the country all the time. I'd do that in a heartbeat. Or just make me SecNav. I think I deserve to be Secretary of the Navy. The guy that was running the Panthers was going to be Secretary of the Army, but he withdrew his nomination under Trump last time. That was interesting. David, I don't, to Ponch's question, I don't touch my synthetic stock ever. The only time I touch my synthetic stock is to close it. And in the history of me doing synthetic stocks for 2 decades, probably, I close them a month or 2 before expiration. Knock on wood, there hasn't been one synthetic stock that I've done that over the 2.5 years I had the trade, it wasn't printing money. A reminder to only do synthetic stocks on what? On names that are going to be around in 2.5 years that are going to go up into the right. You don't do them on, on crap. Shouldn't have done one. Here's a crap one, Boeing, but it's maybe it rises under Trump here. So yeah, there you go, Ponch. Big 12 championship. If you're going to bring them young. Thank you, Iowa or whoever. Yeah. How about prime time? And his son scored. The defensive son scored a touchdown and did his dad's dance. I'm here for it, baby. 7-2. We're ranked 18 in the AP poll, man. Sco Buffs. He went from what, 4-8 to 7-2, man. I'm here for it. Big 12 championship. No fallen heroes flyby. Punch is in the gym doing his trade brief, man. This is how you know life is good. This is what we do here at TOPGUN Options. You guys know me. There was times I was out in Aspen on the chairlift. I remember I was pounding Facebook into the dirt. It was that Cambridge Analytica scandal. You remember? I remember being on a chairlift in Aspen going, holy crap, let's pound this shit into the dirt. Go Ducks. Can't stand Oregon, Lori. Come on now. All right. Excuse me. Any questions? We have a triple top on the S&P 500 right now. I'm kind of vamping a little bit because I was thinking about shooting a sniper. We got a triple top on the day, which potentially is bearish, but no, look at that, man. Crap. Triple top. I don't even have new lines in here. This is how far the market has gone up on me, and I haven't dropped in new 25s. Look at that shit. Wow. But we have a triple top up here. Did it go up to 25? What's the high of today is 17. 6,000 on the S&P 500. Look at that. So triple top here. It's either going to fade hard or we're going to rip higher. So I'm going to keep an eye on here and maybe snipe. Reminder, I do my snipes. They go in the hunters and the max afterburner. So I'm going to do a little Black Friday special. If you want to upgrade into lifetime, folks, I'm going to hook you up with a stupid discount. So it's that time of the year where you do your Black Friday stuff. So we'll do one for that. So any questions, Amazon, man? Shitty bear call spread my iron condor. Thank God we did an iron condor and we put a bull put spread on. So it kind of negated some of my losses. Great job on all of you who managed the short calls. You know what, Whiz? You're wrong. It ain't going to fade. It's going to keep ripping higher. I love that. I absolutely love when you walk on the rice paper and leave no trace. That proves to me you guys are listening and you pay attention. So nice job managing the bear call spread with a bunch of you. I'm very proud of you. So, okay. What is price channel on daily chart? Not sure what you mean. On the S&P here, the S&P usually moves in $25 increments. They are magnets, as you can see. If that's what you're talking about. Those are my lines that I drop in. These are 25s. It is a 25 mover. 5,900, man. Look at this. Jesus God. S&P 10,000 by the end of Donald Trump's term when J.D. Vance. I love the fact that an E4 Marine is going to be going into the Pentagon to lay into some of these admirals and generals. I love the fact that Donald Trump said, if you were a general or an admiral and had anything to do with that Afghanistan pullout, you're fired. He literally said, pack your bags. All right. Again, started the brief with an apology. I'm sorry I was so bearish on America, my fellow Americans. Ponch had a great tweet today. He said, first time I looked at my daughters and said, you know what? I'd be proud if you went in the military and served your country. Me too. I was the #1 source of recruitment for the military has been veterans forever. Past 4 years, ain't no veteran I know telling their kids to go in the military. Maybe things are changing. He's got to disinfect, though. This ain't going to happen overnight. He had 4 years but 8 years of Obama before that. You did not make flag under Obama. Clipped like 125, like conservative, generals and admirals who were kind of good for all his bullshit. The current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, CQ Brown, is a joke. He needs to go. But yeah, I am proud. And this ain't no Michelle Obama moment. Like, well, when you elected my husband, I was finally proud of this country. Finally proud of this country. So you've been miserable your entire life and you hate this place? I was not that miserable, and I've always been proud of my country, but I was worried, man, and you all proved me wrong. So thank you for proving me wrong, and I am thrilled to be here. So everybody else, I'll see you tomorrow in the primary live trade brief. I'll send out an email with these anyway, even though I just posted them all over the place. And also the replay will be posted in about, 20 minutes, as long as it takes to render, okay? Have a great rest of your day. Proud to be an American. Fights on. Namaste. And basi basi. Whiz out. See you tomorrow. Cheers.